والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. We continue in Buloogh Al-Maraam, and if the sisters want, we can talk about the affairs connected with Siyam next week, as I'll discuss it inshallah with some of the brothers. But we wanted to start the book in Kitab al-Siyam this week. So if the people want to start it next Sunday, we can do that. If the sisters would like, we could stop doing Kitab al-Nikah, or we can finish, or we can start in Kitab al-Siyam for next Sunday inshallah. As I'll discuss that for next Sunday. Let's discuss that actually after the class. If the sisters want, we could stop doing Kitab al-Nikah just temporarily. Then we'll resume doing the Kitab al-Nikah after we finish Kitab al-Siyam. Kitab al-Siyam is only about maybe 20 pages. It's not that long. So we could cover all the different masail or the different matters connected with Siyam. Don't close it. All the affairs connected with Siyam. So everyone will be upon complete preparation for Ramadan, which is coming quickly. So now we're in the 17th of Rajab already. So it's approximately, Ramadan is probably about a month and 2 weeks, approximately. A month and 2 weeks. So now, if the sisters want, like we said, we'll make this the last lesson in Kitab al-Nikah. Then next week we'll start the affairs connected with Siyam. So everyone next week will bring Buloogh Al-Maraam. And what I'll do is for the sisters, we'll start in the affairs connected with, exclusively for the women. Meaning, for example, the affairs pertaining to the women's. Like I said, the men's we've pretty much covered a lot of those matters. But as far as with breastfeeding and things like that, what's the correct position the woman take, because it comes up every single year. I don't know why. For 10 years, you'll find people that's been Muslim, and the same thing will come up every year. So those matters, like for example, breastfeeding. Does a woman have to breastfeed? Does she have to feed because she's pregnant, or she's breastfeeding, or what have you? All those things we'll cover, starting off with those affairs first. Then we'll go inside the actual book itself. So next week, maybe inshallah, if the sisters would like, we'll start Kitab al-Siyam next Sunday. And that's also I wanted to do with the brothers. So if the sisters can follow along with the classes with Buloogh Al-Maraam and Kitab al-Siyam with the sisters and the brothers, and I'll tell the brothers, if they can, to listen to the classes connected with the ahkam in regards to the women. So everything will be basically, everything will be connected. The brothers sisters class with the brothers classes, everything will be connected. So if we was to do Kitab al-Siyam 3 times a week or 4 times a week, that would be good, so we can finish the book quickly. We can move at an expeditious, or if you want to say moving a little bit expeditiously, to the point where we'll be able to be finished at least in about 4 weeks or less. So we'll cover basically all the different matters about Siyam. طيب. As we continue, 4:01 p.m., Sunday, March the 24th, between the 17th of Rajab, 1440 after the Hijrah, Mustafa alayhi salatu wasalam, continuing Buloogh Al-Maraam by the great Imam Sheikh Ahmed ibn Ali ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, died 852 after the Hijrah, Mustafa alayhi salatu wasalam. And we were discussing in Kitab al-Nikah we finished the hadith about the obedience or compliance of the spouse, more or less in this situation, the wife, and answering the call of intimacy with her husband. We said that was the origin, or that is the origin of the haqq in regards to the man, but that is the man's right. Especially if, like we said, if he's a man that's fulfilling his obligations, of course, and he's doing the duties in which is binding upon him to carry out for his family, then in exchange, no doubt, the woman is supposed to try to also do her best to keep him chaste and to keep him from what? From being pleased in his household as much as possible. That is the right of the man initially. That is the origin, that the haqq of jima', of intimacy, is initially in the hands of the man. But we said that Ahl Ilm did say that no doubt the woman, that it's incumbent upon him to live with her ma'roof, meaning also likewise to satisfy his wife. That is also the haqq of the wife. But in regards to what the origin is, because of the man of what he spends, and like we said, that is the initial affair, returning back to what he spends out of his means upon his wife. For that type of excellence and that ihsan that he does for his family, of tolerating and enduring the toils of the dunya and the hardships and the difficulties that he embarks upon out here in this world, and if the wife is receiving all her rights, no doubt, then it's incumbent upon the woman to also work diligently to try to please her husband as much as possible. And from those different types of affairs that will please her husband, it's like we discussed, by looking decorated and decorating oneself. And we said that this is part of the haqq of the husband. No doubt the husband is supposed to do the same. So nobody's just saying that the husband has to look in a very disheveled, unacceptable manner. Nobody's saying that. But what we're saying is that if you see your husband that he's working his best, and he's working to his best of his ability, then likewise, the wife should do similar to the same type of effort that he's exhausting to make her pleased, to make sure that she has a roof over her head and the food to the end of it, then she should, similar to that, to also likewise put forth the effort in pleasing him, to pleasing her husband and looking decorated and looking nice for him, and also pleasing him in regards to him being chaste and protecting his chastity, not to fall into affairs that are impermissible. We said that this, all what we're speaking about now, is the origin. It's the wrong book. Excuse me, everyone. Oh, that's the wrong book. I put it there. Okay. No. So we mentioned and said, that's not it. So we mentioned and said that the Messenger of Allah said that if a man was to call his wife to be intimate with her, and she refuses to come, then and he comes upon the night or remains upon the night upset, then the angels will curse her until the morning time. We talked about the details of this probably for about 3 lessons now, and I don't think we have to speak and discuss it anymore. طيب. The next hadith, on the authority of Abdullah ibn Umar, أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لعن الواصلة والمستوصلة والواشمة والمستوشمة. The next hadith, if everyone looks in their book, if you look in Buloogh Al-Maraam, everyone, I hope that everyone brought their book. It says that on the authority of Abdullah ibn Umar, that the Message of Allah cursed the al-wasila wal-mustawsila wal-washima wal-mustawshima. That the Message of Allah cursed the wasila, the woman who puts fake hair in another woman's hair. The woman who's basically, if we want to understand, she's the hairdresser. That she puts fake hair in another woman's head, or puts it in her hair. And the mustawsila is the woman who seeks to get it done, meaning the woman who's actually having it done to. The mustawsila. She's seeking a wasila, seeking that her hair be long, whereas what? There's fake hair that is being put in her hair. Wal washima, the one who puts tattoos on people's bodies, and the person who's actually getting it done, or the one who seeks to have it done. And the hadith is muttafaqun alayh. There's other narrations that says that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ also cursed the namisa. That's what we're going to get into, inshallah. There's another narration that's called the An-Namisa wal-Mutanammisa. The Namisa is the woman that takes from her eyelashes. Or the woman who actually does it. She actually cuts the eyelashes of the woman or outlines it, or does the actual decoration where she if you want to say, to shape up the woman's eyebrows. Wal-Mutanammisa is the woman that actually has it done, that she seeks to have it done. The Mutanammisa. There's also narrations where the Messenger of Allah also mentioned, said the women that file their teeth. That in certain countries, or in certain traditions, if you'll know, in certain places of the world, that they also have some type of tradition or custom where the women file their teeth, especially at one time during the time of the Messenger of Allah, that the women used to file their teeth in a certain way, and it was all for the intent of beautification. And they used to have these spaces between their teeth. I guess in certain places that they would consider like a gap in a woman's teeth to be a sign of beauty or what have you. But carving the teeth to change the creation of Allah, whereas that's supposed to show or display some type of beauty, is all impermissible, and it will also allow the person to fall under the la'na, the curse of the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam. And we know that the curse of the Messenger of Allah is the curse of Allah. So these are the affairs these are affairs is what been mentioned in this particular narrations to show how all these matters are unlawful. It is not permissible where a woman should do these affairs in regards to decoration. So we said that the hadith starts off by saying that the woman, and don't worry sisters, I'll speak about the yarn in its due time, because that question comes up all the time with me. Can a woman use yarn or strings or yarn? It's not actually hair, but it's yarn or some type of fake strings or what have you, and then put it in a woman's hair. Was it considered from the hadith? I'll discuss that in a minute, don't worry. طيب. So the Messenger of Allah ﷺ cursed the woman who puts fake hair inside of another woman's head, or just puts it in another woman's hair. So the Messenger of Allah made invocation upon them with the la'an. And we talked about in a couple of lessons ago that la'an breaks down into two categories. La'an means dispraise, to dispraise or to condemn. As we discussed a couple of weeks ago, maybe about a month ago. We discussed and said that la'an just does not mean curse. It means them, not them, they'll mean. That it means to dispraise. As we talked about the narration when the Messenger of Allah mentioned, it said that the dunya is cursed, everything is in it. It's cursed. Except the dhikr of Allah and what is similar to it, and a scholar or a person that's learned, and the one who's taken knowledge from him. طيب. We said that the meaning of the hadith that the dunya is cursed, everything is in it, meaning that it's dispraised. It's dispraised. What we mean dispraised is condemned. Meaning that your heart should not be totally connected to it, but to a certain extent. To be and have middle course. And have that middle course. Not to let one override the other. Not one when a person is being totally cold, nor is he being obsessed or obsessive. And then be in all of his affairs, whether it be his loved ones, whether it be in his children, his money, because all of it is subjected to what? For it one day to go. Our loved ones could die. Our money could go away. Our worldly affairs can vanish from us due to some reason, or whatever specific reason that Allah has preordained, whether it be your car, something might have happened to it, or your house. How many people we see on the news lost their homes? They wasn't expecting it, and it happened. Their house caught on fire. It's happened to people. It came out, their car, something might have happened, exploded, what have you. Happens to people every day. That's why it's incumbent upon us to be middle course. We're not cold, where we're negligent in these affairs, especially in our loved ones. We display love and we display great behavior, good dealings, and treating them well, and taking care of their responsibilities, or taking care and handling our responsibilities and duties, to make sure that they're in the best state and that they're also being taught properly, educated properly, that they're being maintained. But, like we said, a person is not over the boundaries where he becomes obsessive or obsessed. So nor does he become too lax where he's too cold. You find people that say, okay, I'm not connected, I'm not going to show any love. That's also what? Incorrect. Because the Messenger of Allah ﷺ talked about the hadith of Habis ibn Aqra' al-Tamimi. He said, عندي عشرة من الولد وما قبلت منهم أحد. فنظر إليه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم نظر العجب. فقال متى ينزع الله الرحمة من قلوبكم فمن لا يرحم لا يرحم. That's the narration. Alhamdulillah. The hadith of Habis ibn Aqra' al-Tamimi. He said, I have 10 children, never kissed any one of them. So the Messenger of Allah looked at him in a stare of astonishment. Like, you don't kiss your children? Like to show some love and mercy? So the Messenger of Allah said, what can we do if the mercy has been removed from your heart? Verily, the one that doesn't show mercy, Allah will not show him mercy. The one who does not have mercy upon people and upon his children especially, then Allah will not show him mercy. So, the point of the matter is that the dunya being condemned, meaning that we should not be totally connected with it. But rather we be in the middle course where we don't become obsessive, nor do we become too negligent, but taking a middle course. Because we know that these affairs are subjected to what? Today or tomorrow to leave us or depart from us. So that's when the Messenger of Allah said that the dunya is mal'oon. The meaning of mal'oon here meaning madhmoom. It's condemned. It's not going to last. It'll be here today and it might be gone tomorrow. The other meaning of la'an is to actual what? Curse. The invokement of one being expelled from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one being expelled from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is also the second meaning of la'na. So what is the meaning here in this particular narration in Buloogh Al-Maraam? What is intended here is the la'an where it is considered a-tard min rahmatillah subhanahu jalla fil ula. That one being expelled from the mercy of Allah. So that's the meaning of the hadith here. It doesn't mean madhmoom. Rather it means the actual la'an, which is a-tard or ib'ad an rahmatillah. So the Messenger of Allah said, he cursed the woman that puts a fake hair in her head. That puts it in women's what? Installs it or puts it in women's hair. And the woman who seeks to have it done. For verily we know that al-wasila, a woman having a weave or extensions in her hair, is from the affairs of jahiliyyah. It's from the affairs of jahiliyyah, meaning the affairs of pre-Islamic ignorance where women used to display a beauty in a manner that's not real. It is not real. So this also shows and establishes, brothers and sisters, that the same type of social ills that takes place in our lives today, that the Messenger of Allah during his time had the similar what? Sicknesses and illnesses. People were intoxicated. People used to have tattoos put on their bodies. And also women used to have fake hair installed or put inside of their what? Inside of their hair. So the Messenger of Allah have what? Prohibited this matter. And in Islam also, especially, that the long, extended hair of a woman, no doubt, that is from her mahasin. That's from her beauty. No doubt. The hair of a woman is from her beauty. And it's desired. It is desired and highly recommended that a woman take care of her hair. Because that is part of her beauty. And you'll find that it is highly recommended that a woman to take care of herself and to take care of her beauty and her appearance as much as possible. Rather, you'll find in the narrations of even the Salaf of the woman, how they used to what? How some of the women used to say how one was beautiful more than the other, of how she used to maintain her hair and her appearance. How she maintained her hair and her appearance. However, in the boundaries that Allah set. In the boundaries that Allah Ta'ala has set. So if her hair right now is short, and she now goes and have it connected with another hair, where now you will find that their hair is munasib li sha'r al-bashar, لأجل أن يظنها من يراها طويلة الشعر. For the man now, the person, the woman, she's attached to her hair another length that's not real, it's not true, it's rather it's fake. She will now start to show a fake type of reality that she would display, especially to her spouse. In reality, it's not real. So the woman that does this, it says, وَوَصَّلَ شَعْرَهَا بِأَيِّ شَيْءٍ سواء كان شعرا أو غير شعر. Now this is what Ibn Uthaymeen mentions, and I want all the women and our sisters to listen closely and attentively to this. He said, any wasila, anything that a woman utilizes to connect her hair, to extend it and make it look longer, with anything, he says, he generalizes, anything, whether it be hair, artificial hair, or other than that. Even though, and I've got to give more details in this. He says, some of Ahl al-Ilm, Shaykh Uthaymeen mentions, it says, أنما وصلته بغير الشعر فليست داخلة في الحديث. يعني لو وصلته بخرز أو بشعر اصطناعي فإنه ليس داخلة في الحديث. ولكن عند الفوائد التفصيل. We'll talk about that later because I don't want to get the details about the yarn. But at any rate, the fake hair and the artificial hair, that needs to be what? Avoided at all costs. That will incur, that will allow one to fall under the la'na, the hukm that the Messenger of Allah mentioned here. That will be under the curse. As far as with beads, or extension with like beads, like I said, inshallah, I'm going to get into that. Don't worry. As far as the tattoos, and I think that's clear. The tattoos, in which one that he has some needles or ink, or permanent ink, now put under one's skin. And that's basically what is done, or how it's done. Where a needle, when one takes and puts it on their skin, and it is the permanent ink that's put inside of the skin, or stuffed with the skin. And it cannot be removed. This also will incur the la'na of Allah ta'ala, or the la'na of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the tattoos. As far as in regards to what was done before Islam, and one had it done before Islam, then we know if one was to take shahada and become Muslim, then in Islam yajubu ma qablahu, that Islam removes what was done before it. So if one was to enter the fold of Islam and he or she already had tattoos, then inshallah, bi'idhnillah, that will not harm them due to the fact that it was done prior. But after it's done, a person takes, or he becomes Muslim, and he falls under this particular sin, then it's incumbent upon him or her to make tawbah, and to abstain from doing this act, due to the fact that like we said, one falls under the la'na of Allah and His Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam if they go to have it done. So extensions or weaves or tattoos is from the major sins. How is it a major sin? Due to the fact that what the Messenger of Allah said, what comes as a result of it, which is a la'n, which is a curse. It's sad to say in these days and times that a lot of people, they still do these affairs, or they commit these acts, and they still try to wonder why they're so miserable. They commit the acts, and then they think that they're supposed to attain some type of bliss and happiness in their life. Happiness and bliss in this dunya is only attained by obedience of Allah and His Messenger, not by disobeying them. So you'll find that a lot of our people, that, like we said, they commit these acts, and then you'll find that their lives are in disarray, or their lives are in chaos, or they're miserable. And Allah knows best of what they fell into of the la'na and the curse of Allah and His Messenger. So like we talked about before, if one was to do this act and commit it, it's from the kaba'ir al-dhunub, from the major sins, and one at all costs should avoid it. And if he did it, or he or she had committed this act before Islam, then like we talked about, it said that Islam removes what was done before it. Another question one will ask, what does one do after Islam? Does he or she have it removed? Or does he or she have it changed or altered? Or maybe, if, for example, some people asked me before, that they had their name of their boyfriend or girlfriend that was named put on their body or what have you? Do I have it removed, or do I have it covered, or do I have it altered? I asked the great Imam, Sheikh Ubayd al-Jabiri, Hafidhullah wa Ra'ah, I asked him this years ago. He said, if the tattoo can be removed, if it can be removed, first he said it's not permissible to put one tattoo over another. You can't do that. That's the first thing. So you cannot remove one tattoo with another tattoo where you cover up the one where it had your name of a person, and then have the tattoo put on another one to have their name covered up. So one cannot do that. He said, however, if one can have the tattoo removed without any type of any type of damage to the skin, or not causing some type of damage, or it might cause some type of tashwih, where it will make the appearance of the skin become altered and very strange, or it will become disfigured. If it becomes in this manner, then he said, then one should not do it. If it's going to cause some type of disfigurement, or if it's going to cause some type of damage to the skin or one's appearance, then he should leave it. But if one has the ability and wants to remove it without it causing any damage to the body, or damage or disfigurement to the face or the hands or the body or what have you, if it's not going to cause it, then he or she can do that. He can, or she can do that with these conditions. So he said, first thing, that the tattoo should not cover up the other one. As I heard certain people say that I had a name of a certain person on my body. It was a tattoo, what have you. So they said, I want to go now and have another tattoo put on top of it to have their name removed or covered up or what have you. And we said, like before, that is impermissible. You cannot remove a tattoo or cover up another tattoo with another tattoo. So that's just adding more haram onto another haram. Taib. Secondly, if it's going to cause now for the skin to be disfigured, because we know in these days and times, now people get tattoos on their faces. So now, if one was to attain surgery to have the tattoos removed, then it might cause more damage, or it might cause some type of discoloration or disfigurement of the face or the body. And if that's the case, then one should not do that. You shouldn't do it at all. But if one can ever remove where the skin will remain intact and it will not cause any type of disfigurement or alteration, or where it will not cause one's appearance to look very disfigured or what have you, and he or she has the ability and the means to do it, then they can do that. Is it clear what I'm saying, everyone? Taib. So the origin of this hadith particularly, we wanted to say, what is requested from women is to decorate themselves. Women, to the best of their ability, should decorate themselves. That is the origin. As we'll find the great Imam Ibn Fawzan, Hafidhullah wa Ra'ah, he even mentions that Al-Mar'ah مطلوب منها التزين لزوجها مطلوب منها التزين بما أباح الله سبحانه وتعالى. He said that the first thing based upon this narration, what we're discussing, he said that the woman is requested from her to decorate herself, because that's in the nature. That's in her natural nature as a woman. Women naturally like to look appealing, and they like to look beautiful. That's in their nature. That's how Allah created them. Until the society of this world alters it and changes it and takes it out of her fitrah. But the origin of a woman is that she likes to be acknowledged due to her beauty and how she looks and likes to decorate. And Allah has given them the manner to do it, where they was given hair and they were given feminine qualities to actualize that matter. So, but however, it's requested for the woman to decorate herself in a manner of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has laid down the lines and the foundation and the boundaries, and not to decorate themselves for what Allah has made haram. And from that is al-wasl, meaning for one to put fake hair in their heads. So verily a woman now will bring the hair and connect it with another part to make it look what? Like we said, lengthy and long, as the great Imam says. So the great Imam Ibn Fawzan, he says, هذا غش والتدليس. He said that this is considered deceit. This is being deceitful and cheating one. It is not permissible. It is from the major sins. And the message of Allah, like we said, curse the one who does this. Another thing that's widespread amongst our sisters, especially, is the cutting of the eyebrows or the shaping up of eyebrows. I notice that's widespread in our communities. That woman now, she shapes up her eyebrows and cuts them and decorates them, and she takes from them, also likewise falls under this particular ruling. Because it's from the creation or changing the creation of Allah that Shaitan had promised, or that he had said that he swore, and not only did he swear, but he swore by Allah, that he would change the creation of Allah Ta'ala by doing this, and alter the changing the creation of Allah. So all this is to show, number one, no doubt, that a woman is supposed to decorate herself and make herself look appealing and her appearance to be what? Beautiful to the best of her ability for her husband. But to make sure that it does not exceed the boundaries. Like we said, by putting fake hair, or like we said in regards to now, even getting tattoos put on her body. And we know that Allah Ta'ala has put and made an exchange for all these affairs that are haram, that there are other methods and ways that a woman can make herself look beautiful for her husband and look appealing for her husband and decorate it. Instead of a washima and instead of tattoos, we know the kuhul or the henna is permissible. One woman wearing henna on her body is the permissible boundaries where a woman can now put down her body to look decorated for her husband. Also, likewise, if a woman wants to use fragrances, if the fragrances, like we said, if she wears them, then it only should be done in the household. That she can wear fragrances. Some women are scared to wear fragrances. Women can wear fragrances as long as it's in the household for her husband. If it's outside, then she should make sure that it's removed. But for in the house, she can make herself smell good for her husband, to wear good smelling fragrances. That will make her smell good and keep herself smelling, having a good smell about herself and a scent. Those things that is desired that a woman to do to maintain her hygiene and to maintain herself. And likewise, men have been obliged to do that similar, to make themselves, keep themselves cleanly and maintain their hygiene, and to uphold what will also likewise be a reason for the husband being appealing likewise to his wife. Also, what falls into this, like we talked about last class, is what they call al-washr. Waw, sheen, ra. Waw, sheen, ra. Washr. Like I talked about in the first part of the class, a person, that is a manner that some of the people used to carve or file their teeth. To carve or file their teeth. That was intended is to beautify. For a person might ask a question, what about braces? Wearing braces on the teeth, is that permissible? We say it is permissible to wear braces if the teeth have a very distorted look about them, where it's what? That is distorted to the point where it does not look appealing at all. So if a person has distorted teeth, and it's in a manner that if it wants to see its appearance, that it does not look desirable, rather it looks a little bit, if you want to say, I don't want to say horrific. No, but if a person was to see the appearance, that one could not stand, or the look does not look appealing, then one can have braces put on his or her teeth. The delay for that is, you'll find even from Ahl al-Ilm that mention this. They say, إِلَّا إِذَا كَانَتَ الْأَسْنَانِ مَعِيبَةً فتصلح أسنانها عند الطبيب لأجل إزالة ما فيها من التشويه فلا بأس أما إذا كانت أسنانها سليمة ومعتدلة فلا يجوز لها أن تحدث فيها شيئا بالوشر أو بالتفليج. He says, except the great Imam Ibn Fawzan even mentions this. He says that the teeth, he says if it has a aib, it has a type of a defect where the teeth and the tashwi and the appearance of the teeth is not appealing. He said if a person can have their teeth fixed with the doctor in order to remove the disfigurement that might be in it, and there's no problem with that. As for the teeth that has already been corrected, there's nothing wrong with one's teeth, and they're set straight. It is not permissible for one now to come and try to alter it or change it, either by carving it or putting spaces between it. A person would take like some type of what they call mibrad. A mibrad is like a filer, or something you file your teeth with. And that you will take it and you will put it in between one's teeth in order to make those spaces. All this is what? Impermissible, and is from the major sins. And it's from changing the creation of Allah. And the one that falls into it, they will fall under the la'na of the Messenger of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam. A person might ask, even for the men now, because it's so prevalent now, even weaves, they're starting to say that now that people have shown me that they even have weaves for men now. They have male weaves. So a person would say, is that permissible? For men now, I heard now that they have weaves for men, that they put fake hair on their head, put some glue on it or what have you, and then they cup their hair, and then they also likewise do similar to what some of the women do. Is this permissible? And we say, no, it isn't. For if the woman, it's been prohibited for her to do it, then from the man it's all the more reason. For the man cannot do this and wear likewise weaves. A woman cannot wear a weave, and similar to that, the man falls under the same ruling, the same thing. In regards to now, what about that? فإذا قال قائل, is another answer. الوصف ذكرتم أن من العلماء من قال بعمومه بخصوص الشعر فإيه القولين الصحيح أنه إذا وصلته المرأة بشعر فلا شك أنه داخل في الحديث أو بشعر صناعي فهو داخل في الحديث لأن من رآه يظن أنه شعر طبيعي. A person would say now as a question, fake hair or real hair? If a woman now was to have her hair, put in her hair, real hair, and then you have the fake hair, is there a difference in the hukum? He said, no, it isn't. All of it is what? It's the same. Whether it be artificial hair that was made up, or if it was put in their hair, real hair, from another person, or another human being, it still falls under the same ruling. So in regards to this hadith, so we just mentioned there's a couple other questions I'll mention a little bit later. So then in regards to this narration, we say that the woman is incumbent upon her to maintain her beauty, and to uphold her appealment as far as how she looks for her husband, making herself look appealing and decorated. But as long as it's in the boundaries of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then there's no problem with her decorating herself. But making sure that it's done in the household, but as for outside, that she should cover up her beauty and not to display it except for those in her family members, and also for her husband. As far as with sisters, and of course we know that women can see another woman as long as it's in a manner that is what? That it maintains their, if you want to say, as long as he or she, or the other women, excuse me, I'm sorry. As long as the women that see each other, as long as that what they're wearing around each other, that is somewhat, that it shows modesty, and it does not show what is similar to what we see in certain places and certain gatherings amongst women, where you'll find them that they wear take tight clothes around each other, or clothes that will display their beauty. But as long as that it's a modest type of wear, and we know that women can see other women, especially if there's no fitna, and especially if we know and we hope that our sisters are guarding the honor of our other sisters. What do I mean by that? Because there are women out there that do tell their husbands how other women look. That is also impermissible. That's ruining the honor of your sister. So it's incumbent upon one, if they see another sister and she's sitting in another room, to maintain her honor and guard her honor by not going home and telling your husband or anyone else how she looks, how he or how she looks, even the men too. How she looks or how she looks. She looks like this, she looks like that, she has this, she has that. Those things are dishonorable, and it dishonors the honor of the women. And the women especially, like we said, do not want other people to know how she looks in this manner, where it was conveyed from another woman. طيب, for the next hadith, on the authority of Juthama binti Wahab. Oh, it's time for you there? Oh, okay. السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آتي محمد وصيله وفضيله وبعث ومقام محمود طيب. From the fawaid of the hadith, is it permissible now? Question already came out, just said it. Beginning of the lesson. Here comes the yarn question. Yarn. The yarn question. Yarn. طيب. We go on to say, last part of the benefit from this, extracted from this lesson, is if a person now wants to remove aib, some type of defect, well, you'll find that certain people were born, for example, with 6 fingers. Can one have that removed so it can have 5, for example? We said yes, there's no problem with that. The great Imam Ibn Uthaymeen even mentioned that. That he said that this type of defect where a person was born with 6 fingers, instead of him having 5, you'll find that certain people were born with 6. Can he have that removed or have surgery done to have it removed? We said yes, this can be done. A person can have it removed. Or let's just say if a person now has extra teeth, and it's not the normal number of teeth, and the actual appearance of it looks disfigured. And it doesn't look appealing at all. If this is the case, like we said, then one can have his or her teeth fixed by putting braces on them. There's no problem with that. Right. There's also dalil that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he gave permissible for a man one time that had his nose had been cut off. His nose was cut off. And what happened was, he ordered him that he take a nose of gold. A nose of gold to be put on his nose. For example, لو كان الإنسان أعلم يعني مشقوق الشفة العليا فأراد يجري عملية لضم بعضها إلى بعض فهل يجوز. For example, if a person that likewise, for example, the Sahabi that had his nose cut off, the Messenger of Allah commanded that he take that fake nose of gold, because the intention here was due to some type of defect where it looks disfigured. So that disfigurement that takes place, then one can have it fixed in a certain type of way. But however, this beautification that we're talking about in the hadith here, that's all pertaining to a person's body being what? Being in a good state. And one just came and wanted, out of so-called beautification, I wanted to alter it and change it. What we're talking about here is some type of disfigurement. Some type of disfigurement that was done to the human body, whether it be in teeth, whether it be in the nose, whether it be in fingers or hands, or some type of disfigurement of the leg. For those disfigurements can be what? Can be fixed. They can have surgery done. For example, a person might have a type of lip that's disfigured due to something that might have had of an accident or a fire, or they might have been in a fire, or what have you. And let's just say that one of them wanted to have surgery done, to have one connected with the other in order to remove this disfigurement or to make the appearance look appealing. Is this permissible? And can they have this type of defect removed? We said yes. Due to the fact, like we said, that the origin of what took place, it caused some type of disfigurement in one's appearance. And if that's the case, then one can have surgery done in order to have it what? To have it fixed. Let's just say, for example, now even a person is cross-eyed. Like he has his eyes cross each other. And he wanted to have his look or the eyes set straight so they can look straight. Is that permissible? We said yes, it is. If a person was cross-eyed and their eyes was looking at the same, or for example, they were cross-eyed, and what happened as a result of it, like we said, this type of disfigurement, then they can have it what? Corrected. And there's nothing wrong with that. Is this, like we said, the qa'idah, or the principle that one needs to take into consideration, that a person changes the creation of Allah due to beautification. Let's just say now, for example, why are you sitting so far away? Let's just say now for a woman that has breast reduction done. Is this permissible? For a woman to have breast reduction. For breast reduction can be done if it's due to the fact that it's causing harm to the woman's body or her back or what have you, or posture, it's messing up her back. That some women do complain and say that their back is, or they have an ailment in their back due to their what? To the size of their breasts or what have you. That to have it reduced in order to remove the harm from her back is permissible. So if she wanted to have it reduced due to the pain that she endures on a daily basis, then one can do that. Because it's causing a type of what? It's causing a harm, and it's not considered from what? Changing the creation of Allah to remove a defect. So that's the dabit. So that is the actual what? Principle here. That if it's an ailment, sickness, disfigurement that's done with the body, then one can now attain some type of surgery in order to have it corrected. Like we said, whether it be done the eyes, hands, the face, what have you. Due to the fact, like we talked about, that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, one of the Sahabi who had his nose in the battle, was cut off. And the Messenger of Allah had commanded him that he take a nose of gold as a replacement for doing those particular times. So the tafsil of it, or the details that we mentioned, is in regards to if there's some type of disfigurement, then one can have it corrected. So if a person's teeth does not look appealing and he wants to have it corrected, he or she can have it corrected. So they have the appearance to look more appealing. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as it's not done out of what? Like we said, trying to change the creation of Allah by the intent of beautification. As you'll find that a lot of people will try to do. Or you'll find that a lot of us do it due to some type of trend that the non-Muslims are upon, thinking that it looks beautiful. So a lot of our people, they will follow behind the non-Muslims. But in this regard, like we said, it's incumbent upon a person to abstain from that, so they don't fall in what the message of Allah made impermissible, and as a result of it, the curse of Allah ta'ala falls on that person. طيب. as far as in regards to what a woman might ask a question, what about the woman who wants to have her ends clipped or what have you? I think certain women say they call them split ends or what have you. The split ends of the woman. Like a woman says, have split ends or what have you. Could she have it removed? Or could she shorten it? Or could she have it removed or what have you? We say yes. If it causes some type of appearance, the appearance doesn't look appealing, of course, and it does not look desired, of course, and those split ends is actually something that's about to fall off anyway, then no doubt she can have them removed. She can have them cut. The actual split ends of the woman, the dead hair, what have you, they call them, then that can actually be what? Be removed. So that type of what? That type of removal of that type of particular hair and the hair on the woman's body, likewise, is permissible. If a woman can remove the hair from her body and the different parts of her body, there's nothing wrong with that. Some people would say that's from changing the creation of Allah. That isn't. That's removal of the hair, especially of the private parts, under the armpits and in the private area, and certain parts of the body. All those things can be removed. And in certain instances, it's supposed to be removed, especially under the armpits and the private part. As that type of hair needs to be removed. How much time we got left? What's about 5, 10 more, 7 more minutes? 7 more minutes. So the hair that has to be removed from the body, like we said, in certain parts is obligatory, especially after a certain amount of days. And certain hair should not be removed on the man, which is his beard. That hair is not supposed to be removed. That hair is supposed to stay there. It's not supposed to be what? Removed. As far as what exceeds the fist, I'll talk about that later. I'll talk about the details of that. What exceeds the fist of the man. That goes long, extremely long. Like very, very long. Some people, alhamdulillah, Allah is blessed, their beard can come all the way down to their knees. Certain people out there that can have that type of what? They have that type of beard. Is that permissible or not? I'll discuss that later. Some of Ahl Ilm says that it isn't, due to the fact it's a resemblance of the Jews, like Imam Al-Albani says. He says that's a resemblance of the Jews and the rabbis, that they used to have their beard so long, it goes all the way down to their legs, to their knees. He says it should not what? It should be that long. Yes, he does say that. It's that long. There's certain people Allah is blessed. Like myself, no, that doesn't apply on me. The brothers here, that doesn't apply on any of you. We're talking about brothers whose beards, mashallah, could go all the way down to their leg, to their knees. And certain people, in certain cultures, to their feet. Their beards can extend and grow that long. He says it shouldn't go that. It should not exceed that length. It shouldn't go that long. And if one wanted to cut it, then he should do it to the fist, and that's it. If he wanted to cut it, but the origin is that the man, that he leaves his beard alone and leaves it on his face. You understand? I don't think that applies to any of us in this room. It don't apply to any of us in this room. Well, we'll discuss that later. It's great with the great Imam Al-Albani, what he mentions in his details of it. But as far as the woman, the woman can have the hair on her face removed. If she has hair on her face, brother, start making me laugh. If you have hair on her face, then she can what? She can have it removed. As we know that that's not the origin of a woman, but if she has her hair removed, some brothers are probably laughing online. Do not laugh. This is a reality. It does happen to certain women. Women will say, they'll tell you, do I leave it? No, a woman should have it removed. She should have it removed. As far as the hair on the body, they're also likewise, like we talked about, discussed, then a woman can have the hair on the body removed. There's nothing wrong with that. Like Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Let's move on to the next hadith. We'll just read it and we'll stop. On the authority of Judhama binti Wahab radiyallahu anha, حضرت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في أناس وهو يقول لقد هممت أن أنهى عن الغيلة فنظرت في الروم وفارس فإذا هم يغيلون أولادهم فلا يضر ذلك أولادهم شيئا ثم سألوه عن العزل فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ذلك الوأد الخفي رواه مسلم. This needs a little more of a detail, which we'll have time to do it today. طيب, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said on the authority of Juthama, the daughter of Wahab, about a people who he said about them, verily the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, I had the desire to prohibit what they call ghila. What is ghila? Ghila means to be intimate with one's wife while she's breastfeeding. And they think that this might affect the baby or might harm the baby. I'll say it again. It's to be intimate with the wife. Be intimate with the wife while she's breastfeeding. And some of them even say, well, it's pregnant. But we all know that is still permissible. It is. It is permissible. He said, for verily I had the desire to prohibit ghila. He said, then I looked to Rome and I looked to Persia. And he said, and I looked to them and you'll find that when they have did this, it did not harm their children in the least. I'll talk about this and I'll explain it later, don't worry. That they used to do this, meaning the civilizations of Persia and Rome. They would do it and they would not harm their children. So the Messenger of Allah ﷺ did not prohibit this. So it's permissible for one to be intimate with his wife while she's breastfeeding and while she's also pregnant. We'll discuss that later, inshallah. He says, made clear that it doesn't harm them and it will not be any type of difficulty upon them, especially the woman that's breastfeeding. And there's no prohibition in that. And I'll discuss the details of it a little bit later. Also, as far as in what they call withdrawal, the Messenger of Allah ﷺ was asked about one practicing what they call withdrawal. Meaning at the time, as we know, I want brothers and sisters to be mature about this and not to laugh because it's not funny. We're talking about something serious. To also practice what they call withdrawal, meaning during the time of intimacy that the man basically pulls out. He pulls out at the time where ejaculation takes place or what have you. So the Messenger of Allah said that is called ذَلِكَ الْوَأْدُ الْخَفِي. That is called the minor, if you want to say the minor, how do you translate? Like the minor burial of a person while they're alive. Don't worry, brothers. There is certain instances where it is permissible. The details of it comes in the next hadith here, and we'll talk about it. It's going to come. I'll talk about that next class. There's details where you can. There is certain details. But the Messenger of Allah in these narrations were given the origin. That a person is not supposed to do this if there's no justifiable reason to do so. If there's no justifiable reason to do so. That this is the origin. This is the hukum. This is the actual initial ruling. But if there's a harm, or there's a medical reason, or something pertaining to the woman's body, or something that will cause harm, then there's another narration that says that in those particular instances, then one can. With the permission of the wife and with the other details that we're going to give, inshallah. Don't worry. But this is just the origin of the hukum. The origin is that there's no justifiable reason, or there's no reason at all. The one man just says, listen, because I want to do it. I just feel like doing it today or whatever, what have you. And there's no reason behind it, then one should Then one cannot do it. There's no reason for why he should not do it. Then he's supposed to do it due to the fact that the Messenger of Allah encouraged that the ummah, that it be That it multiply. If a person just does this, then that will be a reason for why women will not be Will not get pregnant. Because that's the whole reason of why women have children, based upon this. So if men was just to practice this and just be like, oh, I'm not doing it, I don't feel like it, or what have you, that would be a reason for, like we said, why the ummah will be less in its number and why women do not get pregnant. And like we know that the child and women having children is from their haqq. That's from their right, unless it's a legitimate reason from the doctor who says why she should not do that or why she should not have children. Due to a medical reason or life-threatening or sickness or illness, then one can do that in those particular instances. But the origin is that a man should not do this with no legitimate reason from the Kitab and Sunnah. All the details we'll talk about in next class, inshallah. But Kitab al-Siyam, we'll start that next week, inshallah. So we're going to do that to finish it, and then we'll return back to Kitab al-Nikah. We'll stop here. Any questions about the lesson? I'll talk about the yarn later. The yarn. Even though I don't see that the women should do it. The yarn. Putting the yarn in the woman's hair. Women now use yarn. I think instead of using fake hair or another hair from another person, they use yarn now. And like I said, I'll get the details of it later with Ahl Ilm. I wanted to bring some of the statements of Ahl Ilm. And I'll read it. I'll bring it a little bit later, inshallah. Maybe I'll bring it tonight, just for the sisters. Is there any questions about the lesson? I can't hear her. Here, go see what she says and just tell me what she says. Say it again, sister. She said she has a question, but what again? After the prayer? After the prayer. What, was it something private? Is it something private?